of the movement.
That's right.
So we called on Supervisor Carson to call on the resources of his office, which was every black elected official in the East Bay, including Richmond, including the areas around us, and called all who would come to a meeting on that following Tuesday morning. Well, we held that meeting. There were about 20 of us there. And as we sat there and we had questions about the case, obviously the questions belong with the district attorney's office. That's who could answer the question as to whether or not any kind of charge would be brought in the murder of Oscar Grant. Because we had our elected officials there, we were empowered to make immediate contact with the DA. If you call the DA as the parent of a child that's been murdered, they may not respond to your call. In fact, they may take your call and shuffle you into the corner while they go ahead and seek to justify the murder of your child. If you call the DA, they may take your name, they may take your number, and they may have somebody call you back somewhere down the line. I don't know how quickly the DA responded to the Grant family in terms of days, but I can tell you this, we got a response in seconds because we had elected officials who were willing, many are not, who are willing to make the call. Councilperson Brooks called the DA while we were sitting there and said, I have a group of concerned citizens here that want to talk to you about what your intentions are in the murder of Oscar Grant. He said, I'm not talking to anybody. That was his response. I'm not talking to them.
That's right, you talk.
And then our councilperson jammed him, as she's well known to do, and said to him, I'm a city council person. Sitting in here are supervisors, council people, community leaders. They want to talk to you. He said, okay, I'll talk to them, but only to 3 of them. There were 20 of us in the room.
Right.
We didn't have a president. We didn't have a spokesman. We just had love and concern. And our response to his 3 was no, all or nothing at all.
That's right.
When he said nothing at all, we said, fine, you will see us all tomorrow.
All 300 of us.
We had a press conference on the steps of the Alameda County Courthouse the next morning to demand that the district attorney investigate and, if warranted, bring charges for the murder of Oscar Grant. Well, when we concluded that press conference, which had about 300 people, about 100 of us went up to his office to catch him before lunch break.
That's right.
So he couldn't get out the office unless there was a backdoor route. We stayed in the lobby and demanded the meeting. Now, at that point, it wasn't 3 people, it was about 100 people. Well, as God would have it, Supervisor Keith Carson was running the budget hearing for the county of Alameda. While we were there, he left the budget hearing in the middle of a budget crisis because the DA called him out of fear. Can you calm down these crazy Negroes and activists in the lobby? They want to meet with me. They called yesterday and now they're in the lobby. How do I talk to them? So Supervisor Carson came up. The DA was willing to speak to Supervisor Carson and Pastor Emeritus Dr. J. Alfred Smith Sr. Well, they met for a few minutes. And they came out of the meeting and said, well, now the DA said he could meet with 7 people instead of 3 because that's how many could fit into his office. Well, that wasn't sufficient, so they asked me to go in with them. And we allowed the DA to know that yesterday we told you all when there were 20. And today we really mean all when there's 100. He said, I can't do it. We don't have space. And we showed him space. You can use an empty courtroom. In fact, we'll meet you in Laney College. It's right around the corner. We'll get a classroom. But we intend to have this meeting. Well, when we had the meeting, that's when we began to learn the positions of the DA. First and foremost, we have in California